Joining me right now is Pennsylvania Congressman. He is Chief Deputy Whip and House Appropriations Committee member Guy Reschenthaler. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much. What do you expect to come out of this meeting between the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, and the President on Wednesday?
Well, what I want to see is I want to see Biden and Democrats just negotiate. Because remember, just a few days ago, they were saying they would refuse to negotiate. They wanted to have a clean debt ceiling increase. And that's unacceptable. The numbers are staggering with our national debt. We should raise the debt ceiling, of course, because we can't default. However, if we're going to do that, we've got to get spending under control so we're not in this position a few years from now. And so what we want is we just want to look forward. We want to find ways to have a balanced budget, not in the next year, not in the next 5 years, but maybe in the next 15, 20, a long-term plan to have a solution to this. Additionally, there's a lot of waste. So we should be looking at the waste and having Biden and the Democrats negotiate away the wasteful spending. There's a way we can make this work. It's a big win just for Kevin McCarthy to be meeting with President Biden because, remember, the Democrats and Biden were refusing to negotiate until just a few days ago.
Well, I mean, look, the Republicans want to go back to 2022 spending levels. Is that what you're hoping to get through? Because if you do that, that is a cut in defense spending. Where specifically do you see the waste?
Well, look, we just had a $1.7 trillion omnibus. We can go through there and find waste, and that will, of course, be part of the negotiations. When it comes to defense spending, we've got to be very careful here because the Mattis plan had us increasing defense spending by about 5% above inflation for, I believe, the next 5 to 10 years. And we're going to need to do that if we want to compete with a growing Chinese Communist Party that's getting very militant. So we've got to keep our eye on that. But we've got to do a two-pronged strategy here, Maria. Number one is we've got to control spending. Additionally, we have got to grow the GDP. We're not going to be able to cut our way out of this. We just have to be reasonable, sensible, and responsible when it comes to spending increases or where we spend. Yeah. But we've got to grow the GDP, and there's only two ways to grow the GDP. You either cut taxes, or you reduce regulations, or you have a combination of those two. If we can do that, grow GDP, increase revenue, and hold the line on spending, we can get out of this without cutting defense.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've been saying that as well. There is no growth plan that I can see, certainly. But you've had real success just in the first couple of weeks in the majority. The House passed the Strategic Response Act in a 221 to 205 vote on Friday. This legislation would prevent the Energy Department from releasing the oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve unless it creates a plan to increase lending on federal lands and water. Congressman, tell us about this. The SPR is now at the lowest point since 1983, and Joe Biden has been perfectly fine releasing this oil and actually selling it even to adversaries, including Communist China.
Exactly right. First off, he declared a war on American energy production literally day number one of his presidency when he signed an executive order that killed the Keystone XL pipeline. By the way, killing tens of thousands of union jobs. Okay, but he went out of his way to make it harder to permit, make it harder to have infrastructure, made ridiculous statements during the presidential campaign and debate saying that he wanted to phase out petroleum and other hydrocarbons, which dried up investment in the industry, which brought down production. So the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, he depleted that because he declared this war on American energy independence, and because the prices of energy skyrocketed, he had to deplete our reserves, which are supposed to be only used for emergencies. So with this plan, with the bill that just passed, we have got to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserves. Again, they're down 40%, as you said, the lowest level literally since I've been alive. And we've got to have a plan to have energy independence in this country. Under President Trump, we were the largest LNG exporter in the world. There's no reason why we can't reverse some of Biden's policies and once again be a net energy exporter.
Well, we'll see if that bill passes the Senate, right? We don't know if this is actually going to stick. But, Congressman, you introduced the defund the EcoHealth Alliance Act last week. This bill would ban the nonprofit EcoHealth Alliance from receiving federal money due to the extensive ties to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Congressman, tell me more about this. We know that COVID-19 escaped from that Wuhan lab, but the CCP continues to stonewall and will not allow a real investigation to get to the bottom of it.
Absolutely. And EcoHealth Alliance and Peter Daszak, who runs the EcoHealth Alliance, they acted as parrots for Chinese talking points during the pandemic. They were basically being used as puppets of communist China. So what we've got to do is we've got to realize that money, the U.S. taxpayer dollars, went to EcoHealth Alliance. EcoHealth Alliance then sent that money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology to do gain-of-function research, something that was not allowed to be done in the United States, and that was an Obama-era rule. So what we need to do, if we really want to cut funding to the Wuhan Institute of Virology and to Communist China and their biological weapons program, we've got to make sure that we're not funding EcoHealth Alliance. The fact that we still have appropriations to EcoHealth Alliance is alarming. They cannot be trusted with this money, and we're literally funding biological weapons research by the PLA,
wow.
the People's Liberation Army. It's shocking. The fact that this wasn't done in the omnibus is alarming. I was successful in defunding the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but if we don't defund EcoHealth Alliance, you're going to still have American taxpayers getting to the WIV.
Yeah, it's a great point, Congressman. Thanks very much. We're going to be watching that one. Guy Reschenthaler, good to see you this morning, sir.
You too,
Thank
Maria.
you.